Hello, everyone. Welcome. I think some people are just starting to trickle in from the break. So we'll give everyone just a second more. All right, I'll kick us off. Well, thank you all for coming. This session is What's New with IBM Storage in 2026. So today we have with us Ian Campbell. He's a build technical architect at Park Place. And we're super excited to have you guys with us. If you have any questions, you can put them in the Q&A panel on the right. If we don't get to your question at the end of this session, we'll bring it up at the end of day 2, which is the live Q&A with all of the presenters. If you have any other comments, please use the chat function on the right. And if you're looking for the handouts, the slide decks from any of these sessions, we will be sending out a post-event survey after the event. And once you fill that out, you will get access to all of the slide decks from all of the presentations. Just one more note, if you do miss any sessions or if you want to catch some of the ones that are at the same time as this, we will have the replays up immediately on the website, so you can watch them at your leisure. And with that, I will hand it off to Ian.
Okay. Hi. Just checking you can see the slides at the moment. Good. Right. Hi, everybody. My name's Ian Campbell. As just said, I'm a build technical architect at Park Place. And if you're wondering what a build technical architect is, so am I. I have no idea what it is, but I do everything to do with storage inside my area of Park Place. This is a quick overview of the latest announcements on IBM Storage Flash Systems that came out in Q1 this year. There will be some speeds and feeds and some technical bits, but I'll try and keep it as high level as possible so I don't bore you to death. So, in Q1 this year, IBM announced 3 new flash systems and aligned the naming. So you've got the 5600, the 7600, and the 9600. The 5600 is almost identical to its predecessor, but we'll get into the differences in a bit. But the flash system 7600 and 9600 have had significant performance boosts applied to them, and we'll get into that as well. Next slide. So here we have a comparison of the old system against the new one, with the differences in speeds and performance. So as you can see, the 5600 is virtually identical. The only difference on the 5600 has been the chassis to accept new FlashCore modules, whereas the actual controllers themselves are the same. So it's only really the chassis that's changed and not the controllers. But on the 7600, as you can see, there's a huge boost in maximum IOPS and capacities, giving you a broader range of capacity and performance envelope that you can use it in. And the 9500, on paper, it's a decrease in some of the performance. As you can see, the bottom left, bottom right, minus 11%. The 9500 was a 4U device, whereas the 9600 is a 2U device. So if you compare capacity per rack U, you will see that 9600 is vastly superior to the 9500. We'll get into a few more bits and pieces later on about performance, but generally, yeah, there's been a 50% increase in performance across the board, and with the new FlashCore modules, a huge increase in the amount of capacity you can deploy into your system, into your new environments. Okay. Bringing up Storage Insights Pro here. Storage Insights Pro is IBM's cloud monitoring platform that they use to give you proactive advisories against your system, alerts. You can use it to detect and respond to cyber events. You can do capacity planning. It's a whole suite of tools and functionality to maintain and manage your systems. And it's also a prerequisite for some of the later technologies that have been announced this year, and the key one of which is FlashSystem AI. This is IBM allowing you to manage your storage using chat systems. So you can open up a window and chat to your system and ask it to do things like create 5 volumes of 1 terabyte each and name them Frankie, Johnny, etc. And it will go off and do that for you. The aim of this is to allow your technical resources more time and more capacity to do the things that matter rather than just the grunt work of setting up new systems, doing minor changes. So you could hand off a lot of this work to your frontline staff on your help desk and things like that. So it's an attempt to drive more value out of the system by reducing the support overhead required to manage these on a day-to-day basis. This is a version 1 at the moment, and it's definitely a work in progress, and you currently need Storage Insights Pro to be able to do this, although the plan is to make it in on board the Flash systems going forward. But yeah, at the moment you still need your connection out to Storage Insights Pro. Amplify your human expertise. Allows the people who are with the knowledge to concentrate on the things that they need to concentrate on, and just reduce the burden of administering these systems. You can use it to do reporting against the systems in a way that suits your environment. So you can see what's going on. You do management reports and things like that in a more conversational manner, but get the information you require out of the systems. I'm speeding through this a little bit too quickly, so I was trying to slow down. Okay. FlashCore modules. The new systems have a new FlashCore module, and as you can see, IBM have been investing into the FlashCore module a lot over the years. Every 2 to 3 years, there's been a new iteration with more and more functionality being embedded into them. These are FlashCore modules like the lungs of a FlashCore system. They allow the system to breathe and do everything it's capable of doing without any constraint. Whereas competitors, everything is in the controllers because they use normal SSDs without any intelligence on them. Whereas FlashCore modules are their own storage devices in a pared down small way, which can then interact with the controllers and allow offloading of the basic functionality of keeping track of blocks and things like that, which allows the system to then just do more performance and scale out as you add more FlashCore modules. The main difference in the FlashCore Module 5 is they've moved to a new form factor. The old FlashCore modules were designed around old 2.5-inch discs, either SAS or SATA discs, which wasn't conducive to the new way of flash cooling and keeping the best performance in the system and with the capacities you can get. So they've changed it to a longer, thinner one so we can get more FlashCore modules into a chassis. And that's as part of the reason for the performance and capacity expansion boost that we've seen in the systems earlier on. As you can see, 20% more raw capacity in the FlashCore modules. Added that to the number of FlashCore modules increasing, you can see that you get a lot more capacity on the floor with the same footprint. So the new FlashCore modules still use QLC NAND flash technology. They're the only enterprise systems that do, which helps with cost because the SLCs and TLCs are a lot more expensive than QLCs. But the hardware on the FlashCore modules allow you to get TLC and SLC performance from a QLC NAND because of all the housekeeping it does on the data on the FlashCore module itself. So you get more performance, more capacity, more offload from the controller, and just scale performance that as you add more and more FlashCore modules. They've also increased the high-end FlashCore module now to 105 terabytes in a single FlashCore module with compression and everything else. That gives you nearly half a petabyte of capacity in a single FlashCore module, which is absolutely phenomenal, along with superior performance compared to its competitors. As part of the new FlashCore Module 5, IBM are also introducing deduplication. This is an offline duplication, so data will be written to the FlashCore module and then processed at some point in the future and deduped on the fly. This is a always on, or will be always on capability. They've not switched on quite yet, but they will be doing it in the next code releases coming through. The deduplication is on a per FlashCore module basis, so it's not against the entirety of your data. It's only the data that can be seen on the FlashCore module itself. This was done to make sure that they didn't have the same issues with performance they had with their previous iteration of deduplication. And they're virtually guaranteeing no performance impact. As you can see, a little to no performance impact. But they're trying to do this in a way that maximizes the amount of data you can store and maximize the amount of performance you can get out of that extra capacity. A little bit more detail around the deduplication. It's all done in the background to prefer performance. All the data is still compressed. There is no extra latency to the added to the write path, and the minimal extra performance required from the controller because it's all handed off to the FlashCore module, and the controller only uses a small amount of memory to keep track of the duplication that's going on in the FlashCore modules. And so it's all contained within each FlashCore module, and the FlashCore modules themselves have had their addressable capacity increased to allow the extra capacity required to manage the deduplicated capacity. Ransomware detection is a feature that's been around since FlashCore Module 4, where the systems are track I/O patterns as are written down to the FlashCore modules, and if a pattern of writes matches a pattern that they recognize from a known ransomware, it will flag an error and let the operators know that it's detected a ransomware threat. Off the back of that, if you have the right processes and procedures in place, you can take an automated safeguarded copy to preserve your data in line. You can take off hosts, but off the back of that trigger, you have lots of options to keep your data intact and reduce exposure to any ransomware detection. This is built in to all the FlashCore flash systems, and is a non-charge feature. There is no extra licensing required to do this. It's baked in and gives you the extra layer of security and a peace of mind required in this day and age. There's lots of talk around encryption and quantum technologies, and the fact that when quantum computing becomes more widely available, people will use it to crack encryption. But the FCM5 has been deployed with quantum safe encryption deployed on it, which, whilst not guaranteeing that it won't be cracked, makes it a much harder for anybody to crack it, even if they have access to quantum computing. This allows you to have the peace of mind of knowing that your systems are secure for any known eventuality coming down the line, and to preserve your security stance on your storage. Uses AES-256 encryption, which is as the best we can possibly deploy at the moment. Right. Okay, I'll go over the hardware features of each of the system. Well, 5600 and the 7600. The 9600 I've not gone into because I didn't think there'd be enough time in the presentation to do it, to be absolutely honest. So the 5600 is still a 1U enclosure. The only thing that has changed is the actual enclosure itself, whereas the controllers inside, or the nodes, as are more well known, have stayed exactly the same. You have the same CPU, same memory, same I/O options, and so you get exactly the same performance out of it. But the chassis has changed to be able to accept 15 FlashCore modules, of which at the moment IBM reserving 3 for future use. So at the moment you can still only have the 12 FlashCore modules in the system as you can with the 5300. 7600, everything has changed. So the chassis has changed to accept up to 36 FlashCore Module 5s, which is a 50% increase over the previous 24, obviously. And they've increased the number of, they've changed the CPUs, increased the number of cores, changed the amount of memory you can get, increased the internal bandwidth between the controllers and the FlashCore module to increase the amount of performance and capacity you can get in the systems. There you go. So a quick side-by-side overview. So the old 2U 7300 could have a maximum capacity of 772 terabytes, where it's now 1.2 petabytes. And given the deduplication and compression, you can store up to 7 petabytes of data on a single 7600 versus the old 2.3 petabytes on the old 7300. So a lot more capacity in the same rack space, which means that you have less data center costs for the same amount of data, or even more data. Slightly different connectivity options and slightly different controllers. They've moved into PCI Gen 5, so we can have 32 and 64 gigabyte fiber channel cards, and up to 100 gig network cards for iSCSI or IP replication. But overall, it's a very similar look and feel to the old system. Nothing jarringly has changed, allowing people to move their knowledge from one system to another without too much culture shock. Very small writing, I'm afraid, but this gives you all the adapter configurations that you can deploy onto new 7600. As I already mentioned, you've got 64 gigabit fiber cards, 100 gigabit Ethernet. There are some restrictions on what you can place in where, which is given in the chart, but your options are high end are far more than the previous version, but they have dropped low end options like 10 gig Ethernet and 1 gig Ethernet. They are now no longer available for host or replication connectivity. And that is the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to shout them out, and I'll answer anything that. Okay, first question. IBM have a lot of online training available through their training platform, or I personally use IBM Redbooks, which have a lot of information about how to deploy, how to set up, and how to manage flash systems. These are www.redbooks.ibm.com, I believe, and they are written by the architects and developers of the systems and who know everything inside out. If you want to send me an email or put your email in the chat, I will send you links to all the resources I can find for you.